Various measures have been taken by nations to stop the spread of the coronavirus, aka COVID-19. Now, some countries, however, have taken precautions on a much larger scale. Welcome back to another episode. My name is Leroy Kenton, and for this episode, I'm sharing with you 10 countries who have imposed lockdown measures, and more countries are suspected to follow suit. First country to look at is China. Now, China implemented the largest quarantine in human history, all to try and contain the coronavirus. They locked down at least 16 cities at the end of January 2020, and by mid-February, we saw like half of China's population, they were under some sort of travel restriction. Now, at its peak, China's quarantine spanned at least 20 provinces and regions, and Wuhan, of course, where the virus first appeared, was locked down on January 23rd, and they cut off transportation to the city as well as they closed many of the public spaces there. And for almost 6 weeks, the streets had been completely abandoned in Wuhan because residents were self-quarantining themselves at their house. Now, the next nation that we got to look at number 9 is Italy. So a nationwide lockdown went into effect on March 10th, 2020. That restricted pretty much all aspect of life. So retail shops were closed, churches were closed, travel, all of that was limited for the people in Italy. Now, more than 1,800 people have passed away from the virus in Italy, and over 24,000 people have been infected. Other restrictions of the quarantine included mortgage payments actually being suspended, as well as there's been a ban on family visits to prisoners, and also the healthcare workers are being told to cancel all of their vacations. The country at number 8 is Denmark. Now, Denmark became the second European country to impose a nationwide lockdown, all in response to controlling the effect of the coronavirus. So the government of Denmark, they closed off their borders beginning on March 14th, 2020, and they're making that last up until April 13th, all to help limit the spread. At a press conference, the Danish Prime Minister said, "We're painfully aware that this will have severe consequences. But nevertheless, the country, they still have to do what they have to do." Of course, just like all the other countries in this episode. But next up at number 7, we have Ireland. All schools, all colleges, childcare facilities, as well as cultural institutions, they've just been completely closed. Also, indoor gatherings have been limited to no more than 100 people, and outdoor gatherings have been limited to no more than 500 people. Number 6 brings us El Salvador. Now, the president of El Salvador announced an orange alert. And now what's that? The orange alert pretty much is a national quarantine on the country's entire population, closing schools for 3 weeks and requiring a 30-day quarantine on Salvadorians returning home from different countries. This, of course, has restricted foreigners from entering the country, and they banned gatherings of more than 500 people. Also, El Salvador has no confirmed cases of the coronavirus, so I guess they trying to keep their slate clean. They don't want any kind of infection at all, so they're taking drastic measures nationwide. Halfway in at number 5, we have Poland. Now, Poland announced that it will undergo a countrywide lockdown. And now people from different countries entering into Poland will be subject to a mandatory 14-day quarantine. But that's just speaking about people from the country. But all foreigners, they're banned from entering into the country, as well as all restaurants and bars and casinos have been shut down. Kenya is next. Now, Kenya, they've closed their schools, as well as they blocked non-residents from coming into the country. They also became the first African nation to impose these nationwide measures like this. Now, in a statement that said, "I want to assure you that my administration is at the forefront of managing this pandemic." Now, that was a statement from President Uhuru Kenyatta of Kenya. Now, Kenya had 3 confirmed cases of the coronavirus based on the last count. Country at number 3 is Czech Republic. Now, the Czech Republic has closed its schools as well as banned many public events. But grocery stores and pharmacies and banks, post offices, gas stations, as well as takeout restaurants were actually allowed to remain open under a new order. Now, the Czech Prime Minister, Andrej Babiš, he said this: "We need people to go to work but stay home afterwards." Those countries who have managed to do something about the situation say limit interaction among people. And of course, that's exactly what the Czech government did. Now, moving on to country number 2, we got France. Now, France closed all non-essential businesses just a day before the nationwide elections. Now, this whole closure excluded grocery stores and pharmacies, as well as gas stations and banks. And they also kept open newspaper stands and stores that sell basic goods across the entire country. Now, the Prime Minister said, "We have seen too many people in cafes and restaurants. In usual times, this would make me happy because this is the France we all love. But for a few weeks, this is not what we should be doing." And the final country I want to share with you at number 1 is the country of Spain. Spain imposed a nationwide lockdown, and the Spanish government, they ordered their 47 million residents of Spain to stay in their homes for at least 15 days, though that period could actually be extended. That's what some reports are saying. But this order allows people to leave for work, as well as do their banking and take care of course, their medical appointments, and also buy the essentials that they need, like toilet paper, which people are going crazy over right now. This order also extended to bars and restaurants as well as hotels. Those have been closed nationwide. In a national address, Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez said, "We have only one objective, which is to defeat the coronavirus. We are all on the same team." All right, guys, so that's it for this episode on the 10 countries that are in lockdown because of the coronavirus. They're definitely doing what they can, and it's definitely a stressful time for everybody, governments, people who are out of work, businesses that are suffering. But as these measures are being taken, let's just hope that this really curbs the effect of the coronavirus spread as quickly as possible so we can get back to living our lives. Now, before you guys get out of here, my social media links are below in the video description section, and also be sure to leave your thoughts and comments down below. Let me know what you think as well. And before you guys head out of here, I'm going to be leaving you with a recommended episode. It's going to be coming up at the end screen, so definitely check that out. All right, guys, awesome hanging out with you. See you in the next episode.